freedom ring. Let freedom ring. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. My native country, thee, land of the noble free. Thy name I love, I love thy rocks and reels, thy woods and templed hills. My heart with rapture thrills, like that above. Let freedom ring. Great God our King, from sea to shining sea, let freedom ring. So let music swell the breeze and ring from all the trees, sweet freedom song. Let mortal tongues awake, let all that breath partake, let rocks their silence break, the sound prolong. Let freedom ring. Great God our King, from sea to shining sea, let freedom ring. Our fathers, God to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God our King. Let freedom ring. Great God our King, from sea to shining sea, let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Great God our King, from sea to shining sea, let freedom ring. Oh, great God our King, let freedom ring.
Welcome. I'd like to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the fourth and final video. I mean, we went ahead and we took a deep dive. We took a look at these genetic engineers. Okay, we looked into their alchemist labs. We took a look at big tech and seeing what they were up to. And then thirdly, we took a look into the politicians and, took a deep dive into the congressional chambers. So I thank you guys so much for liking the video, for watching the video and subscribing. And I'm looking forward to bringing you guys much, much more. Okay, so let's get into the fourth and final video. And we are going to be talking about playing games, okay? Playing games with the devil and the plans that are not working, but that the enemy had planned out for us, for the world, all right? And everything that we're seeing right now has everything to do with that particular plan. And China has its hands in a whole lot more than just virology and the medical lab. All right, so they all were in on this big grandiose plan to bring about technology across the whole entire globe. And this is the reason why they wanted to blanket the entire planet with this fifth generational technology. They had evil plans where you could do so much great, causes and do so many good things with this technology. They have plans to do very horrible, evil things. So I want to get into a few of the details and talk about this Blue Beam project, okay? Now, the Blue Beam project was first introduced by a gentleman named Serge Monast. Okay, so Serge Monast was the first one who kind of just brought this whole idea to the scene. He was an insider, and he had wrote a book and titled it The Blue Beam Project. All right, and he worked closely with NASA. He was a journalist. And of course, he was Canadian born. But of course, just like any whistleblower of those times, he ended up suffering from a heart attack shortly after he had wrote his book. And he had a co-author who ended up passing away as well of a heart attack. And both of them had passed away days apart from each other. Okay, so they did not want Monash to let go these plans of their advanced technology and what they were, planning for the globe. But he was able to do that. So, I thank him for that, even though he isn't here anymore. But I do thank him for that. Lots of people definitely wrote tales of it. There were books written even before he had written his book, but his just had a whole lot more detail. There was a book written called The Pale Horse, or A Pale Horse, in 1991 by William Cooper, and he talked about the same thing. Okay, he talked about how the NWO was going to create all of this chaos, and they were going to implement this Blue Beam light show, okay, this technology where they could go ahead and create this one world religion. All right, and so every elected official would be in on exercising, bringing about this perfect plan that they had lined up. All right, I mean, it involves earthquakes, wars, the Messiah's arrival, disguised fallen angels, economic collapses, and the way they were planning things, it seemed to be right here on our doorstep. So as you know, we have POTUS, and we have the other strategizers who we're trying to survive in this here, okay? So because we can't imagine the plans that they have for us, they sure can, all right? And they were ready to definitely break this plan out. But I'm going to detail the plan, but then we're going to talk about exactly why, the elite would never be successful, thanks to our great military, not the military that we're seeing right now, okay? That's going to come in my next video. So my next video, I'm going to be talking about, where these actual military insurgents are located, because it's not the military that we think is, presented to us, okay? So I'm going to talk about all of that. But in any event, they will not be successful in this particular plan. And of course, we had this computer geek who had his hands all in the details as well, all right? And it was said that he had wrote up a lot of the details of this particular plan, where children would be kept for, sacrifices and slaves, prisoners would be used for medical experiments, and living organ harvest recipients, okay, slave workers, so this is actually a huge international plan that they had fully prepared, okay, with re-education centers. It really was quite sinister, this plan that they had rolled out. Okay, guys, so let's get into that for a momento. Okay, so let's see. This technology involved 4 steps. Okay, so this is a 4-step plan. And step 1 would involve the breakdown of knowledge in the religious doctrine. So all of them would be destroyed, okay? From Muslim to Christianity to Buddha to everything, okay? And you already seen that beginning to happen with the shutdown due to the pandemic, okay? And then, of course, destroying Christianity was a very, very big part of it, okay? And they wanted to, basically destroy our religion and then hunt us down. In fact, let me see something. I want you guys to take a look at something really quick. And you see, family, that was a very, very authentic looking dragon flying around that amphitheater or that stadium. That looked really authentic, So if you can imagine for a moment that we have a global blackout and the only thing you can see is the sky, and all of these things are taking place right after all of this chaos that's been thrown around the last couple of years. People will not be able to use their judgments correctly. They will have their discernments totally tapped out of, okay, due to so much psychological scarring the past couple of years. All right. So we were talking, before I showed you guys that clip, we were talking about a 4-step plan, and the first plan would involve the breakdown of all religions, okay? Every single last one of them. That's step 1. And then step 2 would be that gigantic space show, okay? It will be put on display with fifth dimensional holographic laser projections, and it will beam, or it'll show all over the planet, okay? And so, deities will take shape, all of them. So whatever someone's God is in another country, that's what they will see, and then that's what they will hear. And then finally, all of the deities are said to merge into one God, who would be the Antichrist, and then people not tapping into their discernment will mistake this for a new God instead of a blatant advertisement for takeover. Okay, so in fact, it was widely known that in 1991, the Iraqis in Baghdad, they were infiltrated with this very same technology, and they are the ones who overthrew Saddam Hussein through 5D projection mapping. Okay, so that happened with the projection mapping of their brain, and they actually, when I say they, the Americans used the Soviet Union's computer, and it feeds psychological and physical particles, and they basically studied and mapped out the anatomy of the soldiers of their human body and the electrical and chemical properties of the brain. Right? So because every human being has a unique radio wavelength. So those computers are inducing, well, they're capable of inducing all sorts of things like suicidal thoughts. Okay, so you know that's what they were involved in. And as you guys know, that Russia and China is actually the spearheads of the new world order, Gog and Magog. Okay, so but then you know even NASA has a lot to do with this. Okay, NASA uses a Soviet computer as well. Okay, so the USSR plays an important role in this particular blue beam technology, or the NWO takeover, the New World Order takeover, which is basically a social and religious chaotic program that will start after a pandemic. Okay, so billions and billions of programmed people will have all their religious beliefs shook loose. Okay, and then you would have the worldwide demonic possession. It would take over on a scale that no one has ever seen before. Okay, and the reason why I want to talk about this with you all in this particular clip is because I'm 85% sure that this will not be successful. However, if it is, we have another 15%. So if it is, I want for my family to be able to recognize its operations. Okay, I want you to be able to tap into all of the things that you see and that you learn throughout the years, and so that no false introductories can be brought to you. Okay, so because that's very, very important, guys. All right, I really want you guys to know this. Okay, so so that was step 2. Now, step 3 involves the telepathic electronic two-way communication, okay? So that's where people would start believing that their God is speaking with them telepathically, okay? So I told you each person would have an ELF, okay, speaking through them. That's extremely low frequency and radio waves. And all of this is in Serge Monat's book and lots of other books, okay? And if you're an atheist, then you'll be made to believe that you're hearing your own thoughts, okay? So you'll be made to believe that you are hearing your own voice, okay? So that's what will happen. So, and I always go back to the targeted individuals because, as I say, they were the first guinea pigs. I hate to call them guinea pigs, but they experimented on targeted individuals before this particular program, was to take shape. And they experimented on lots of people. A long time ago, they had a politician named Michael Dukakis, and his wife Kitty was a victim of this particular technology. Okay, so it is a very high possibility, and people are suffering from this technology currently on the planet. Okay, so they do realize that this would work if you could get everyone inserted or planted with the technology to be able to, speak to them or through them, okay? And then step 4, the final plan would be making humanity believe that there was an alien invasion that had occurred and more were about to occur, okay? So, and also that the rapture is actually happening as well. Okay, so they'll be using a mixture of electronical supernatural forces, and these forces will be able to travel through fiber optical cables. Okay, so this is why the planet has so worldwide construction going on, and I always felt so uneasy every time I saw these people digging up in the grounds and messing with the telephone and the cable lines, okay, because that technology can penetrate all electrical equipment and appliances, and then after that they can have their voices programmed and installed. Okay, so but and then at that point people will be so desperate for peace. They just want to have a peaceful feeling, that at that point they'll be ready to accept the new world order. Okay, they'll be ready to have anything to stop all of this chaos that's happening. All right, and so it's very, very, very possible too that you could outlaw religion, because it has happened in the past with the Inquisition. Okay, so the Inquisition was a time when tribunals were taking place, and they was established by Pope Gregory the 11th, and this was in the year 1232. So they had suppressed religion. Okay, and they also suppressed it in the south of France and in the Spanish colonies. Okay, so basically they were practicing different practices of faith, and it was the Protestants. Okay, so the Protestants were practicing Catholics, but they didn't believe or agree with everything that was happening in the papacy. So they went ahead and they formed Protestants. Okay, and so basically they were just an extension of the Catholic Church. Okay, so anyone found outside of the Catholic Church would be hunted. Okay, they would hunt these people. They would put them on trial. So the Inquisition was actually a powerful office set up in the Catholic Church, and it would root out anyone who wasn't Catholic in America and in Europe, okay? And this lasted for 100 years, okay? So this gives you an idea as to, these evil plans that, the Catholic Church is involved in, and the Catholic Church has a lot to do with the Blue Beam Project as well, okay? And it took for a Spanish woman named Maria Cristina, to end the Inquisition in 1834, okay? So now we have practicing Protestants, okay? And it's just a form of Christianity that originated in the 16th century, okay? So it's a reformation, okay? A movement against, the errors which they believe were in the Catholic Church, okay? So it's just a separate extension of Catholicism, okay? And it includes the Baptist Church too, though, and the Presbyterians and the Lutheran churches, okay? So their beliefs are sola fide, okay? Sola fide, good deeds and faith. They didn't believe in what the things that they saw within the Catholic Church, okay? So, the Catholic Church is extremely, extremely satanic, okay? And which has a lot to do with why the Pope and everyone, they speak Latin, okay? Latin is Lucifer's language, okay? So, that gives you an idea as to how close they are with that particular deity, all right? So, give me a second, guys. Let me see where we're at. Just a momento. So, that's the Inquisition. Yes, I want to show you guys a clip. I want to show you one more clip really quick about these evildoers and how cocky they are. They created a movie called the Blue World Order, okay? Blue World Order. And let me see if I could fit it in here. Just a second, guys.
What is this place?
Well, it's home to many.
My daughter. She's sick.
How long has she been like this?
It's the Flash.
We can help her. And you.
It's the virus. It lives inside the brain and makes us do whatever they want.
That's impossible.
Is it? Well, everyone's got it. The weird thing is you don't. They will never stop hunting you, hunting her. You'll never be safe. The virus. It killed all the children. All but her.
Who is she? How did she survive?
They're gonna release an update to the virus. Look, if that update goes out, she's dead anyway. The tower, it has to be destroyed. It has to be you. Secret for years. I've just shown them the way.
We better get there first.
How long would you last?
You want to test me?
Aren't they so bold, you all? Like, that is just awful. So you have this loving father who's trying to keep his daughter safe from some type of overlords that seem to be hunting them down because his daughter lived. You know what I mean? And it looked as if they wanted to, do some sort of research on her and him. Okay, but preferably her, because they wanted to know why she made it through whatever was going on, this virus, and all the other children didn't. Okay, so they always give us a look into their evil plans. Okay, and it's just real sick. And instead of running away from them, we need to be running towards them, because that's what Red October is all about. It's going to be a really huge shift in power. Okay, it's going to be a really big change. Red October is all about a revolution. Okay, it's all about a revolution. And I encourage you guys to maybe take a look at the old film A Hunt for Red October. Okay, it involves a lot of political figures, presidents, okay, a revolution, okay, taking power from a very corrupt government, all right, and taking out of power very evil religious organizations. The same thing that's happening today. All right. So let's talk about the Vatican, okay, and their evil deeds, okay? And I just thank God for putting his spirit on the men and women who are involved behind the scenes on the takedown of these satanic worship, devil worship. I mean, these satanic evil devil worshipers, So, but let's talk about the Pope's telescope. He has a telescope named Lucifer. Okay, it's a satanic telescope that he named Lucifer. All right, and it's a large binocular telescope, and it's got infrared utility cameras with some sort of extra galactic research capabilities. All right, and he can go ahead and observe young undeveloped galaxies from very far away places, incoming stars, morning stars. Okay, as we know, Lucifer is called the morning star, the shining one, the bearer of light. Okay, and this particular phrase only occurs one time in scripture. Okay, so you only hear Lucifer referenced as the morning star, the bearer of light, the shining one time in scripture, and that scripture would be Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12. Okay, and the translation Lucifer was taken from the Latin Vulgate, so the Latin language. But in any event, this particular telescope sits in a location in Tucson, Arizona, and it's on top of a mountain, and this mountain is called Mount Graham. Okay, so it's called Mount Graham, and this particular telescope is owned by the Vatican. Okay, and it's operated by the Vatican as well. Okay, so but all the way up until the moment that I'm speaking to you guys. And I'm going to catalog this moment in at, let me take a look at my phone. It is October 4th. It's Monday, October 4th, and it's about 1:12 in the morning. So all the way up until the moment that I'm putting this particular video together with the voice recording, there has been explosions going on at Mount Grams and catastrophic fires taking place, okay? They say that, right now where I'm located at, it's raining, and it's raining a whole lot of different places on the planet, but they say that, in the news feed, it says that they were hit with lightning, or the telescope was hit with lightning. Okay, so, all right, so we can go and figure, either HARP, which is the weather modification tool that you can control the weather with, that is in the correct hands, which I do believe that it is, and or, the great and powerful, most highest creator, Yahweh, went ahead and hit that thing up. Okay, so it's either or, but I can tell you one thing is that won't nobody be peeking through no telescopes looking into the sky for no one to come from that particular observatory. I know that much. Okay, so I wanted to say, and just reiterate that won't be taking place. Okay, and even the supercomputers. Okay, we talked about supercomputers in one of my earlier videos, titled not DNA, DNA and supercomputers. Okay, but those supercomputers are being destroyed or have been destroyed. Okay, so you definitely need supercomputers to have the capability to work the Blue Beam Project technology. Okay, so you need for people to be able to hear things, and with the thing that shall not be named, guys, the DVOC 91, the pandemic that's taken a toll on the planet right now. Those particular people are people who would be basically controlled through this technology. Okay, so you need to be able to have a frequency device inserted into you to be able to be controlled with this technology, hence why they want the entire globe to have this particular technology inserted, so that they can make you hear what they want you to hear. They can make you smell what they want you to smell. They can make you sleep when they want you to sleep. Okay, they can make you gain weight, make you lose weight. They can take your eyesight. They can stop your heart. This is why this supercomputer is called the supercomputer, because that's exactly what it is it is extremely super, and it can do some really catastrophic things if you were a subject to be controlled by that. Okay, just everything, being able to see what you ate for the day, your particular intakes, your calorie counts. I mean, this thing can see everything when what has to do with the human body and any type of consumptions, things that you put out, when you get up, what your daily routine is like. Okay, and they can reprogram, just like you can reprogram a computer. Essentially now you're a computer, so you can be reprogrammed and restructured. Okay, you're not a human being anymore. Now you are a computer program. Okay, so, and you'll be treated as such, and so that's why I think that it's so sad, not to get off subject, because we are talking about the Blue Beam technology, but we have a lot of citizens who are just so fearful. They let the devil come in and invoke all of this fear on them. I was reading an article about one of the celebrities I'm not going to say a name because I think it might just be inappropriate, but I was reading, she's a comedian, and, you know, she was having some trouble with her daughter during this time, you know, at with the DVOC 91. And she was telling her daughter that she wasn't taking life serious, that she didn't want her daughter around her, okay? Because the daughter was hanging out with her boyfriend and hanging out with her friends, and she needed to basically keep people away from her. And so because she wasn't keeping people away from her, the mother, you know, basically decided to keep her daughter away from her as an answer, okay? Instead of going to try to read a book or look into something other than a fucking mirror, excuse my language, or look into something other than an Instagram post, you know, so she can figure out what's false from the truth, okay, or dark from light. She chose to push her daughter away, and some really bad things ended up happening as a result. And the reason why I tell this story is because the saddest part about that is that the mother still to this moment doesn't really understand, not really, doesn't at all understand the truth, okay? Just doesn't understand the truth at all. And I want to tell you guys another quick little story, okay? And because I'm, you know, it just brought to mind as I'm talking about, you know, mother and daughter, and we're speaking on discernment, okay? So one morning, it's about 4:30 in the morning, and I wake up and I see a program on TV, okay? And this program it featured about three moms and her daughters, and they were talking about the daughters or children, and these daughters were older. They had to be maybe in their, you know, not old, but they were older, you know, old enough to know better. They were in their 50s or 60s, okay? And they were there with their moms. They looked just like their mothers. They had the just everything about them, the mannerisms. You could look, you're a stranger, you could look right at these people and tell that they were related. Well, this hospital was kidnapping infants in Philadelphia, and I already knew where this was going. That's why I watched it. And they had went to the press so that the press could give them a DNA test, okay? And you can tell, you know, by the woman who was conducting the DNA test, that you can look right in her eyes, because you know that's where the window is located, okay? So if you peel back a curtain or two, or lift up a blind or two and look into those eyes, you can see what's going on with the soul. All right? And so do you not know that, needless to say, this lady with her freaking clipboard and her cue cards had a nerve to tell these women that the woman that they were sitting next to, was not their mother, okay? And not near 6 of them had any type of discernment. So you have the daughters crying, you have the mothers crying. I'm talking immediate tears. Oh my goodness, I just knew you was my mother. I know, I just knew you was my daughter too. I'm so sorry, but you know what? I'll always be your mom if you ever need me. Like, give me a whole fucking break. I'm not even talking about a tiny one. I need a real whole big ass break from the fact that these grown ass people do not be utilizing the brain cells that they were blessed with. Imagine when you cannot think for yourself, okay? Like, as a people, we need to get it together.
Hi, today we're going to show you an exciting new technology that could fundamentally change the way that people will communicate in the future. Imagine being able to virtually teleport from one space to another in real time. Hey Sergio,
Yes, Ram.
how does it feel like to be holoported?
It feels great to be holoported.
So if Sergio is to wear his HoloLens device, and I'm going to wear mine, we can see each other in full 3D in real time. We can interact and communicate as if we're co-present. Sergio, can you walk around my space? Can you walk behind this chair? So we're doing everything to give the impression that Sergio and I are present in the same space. Sergio, let's just do a high five. That's great. Thank you, Sergio. We call this technology holoportation. Now, to make all this happen, we've had to create a new type of 3D capture technology. I'm surrounded by these 3D cameras that we've developed in our team. Each of them is capturing me from a separate viewpoint, and we're fusing this data together to create a temporally consistent model, as you can see reconstructed live behind me. Now, the camera that's filming me has a HoloLens tracking system attached, and this allows us to take these 3D models and composite them in real time into the real world, as you can see here. And that gives you a sense of the fidelity of the reconstructions that we can achieve. Once we have these reconstructions, we can texture them. We can then compress the data and transmit the data over to the other side. Over on the other side, a user wearing a HoloLens can see these remote participants live in their space as if they're co-present. And that's what we're showing you picture in picture. Now imagine using this type of capture technology to connect with family members who are thousands of miles away. And that's exactly what we're going to demonstrate to you right now. My daughter is stood in a similar capture rig somewhere else in our lab. And she's going to holoport into my space, and I'm going to interact with her wearing my HoloLens.
Hi, Bob, I miss you.
Hey, Lilia, I miss you too.
When you coming home?
I'm coming home very soon. Let me get out of your way. Hey, Lilia, you can only hear me, you can't see me, but what are these toys?
I have toys to show you. This one is name is Elmo.
Elmo?
And he can sing.
He can sing, wow. And what about the other one?
The other one is called Tina, and I like it because it has different stuff.
Well, that's so cool. So Lilia, can you climb up on this chair that's behind you? Yeah, climb up. Be very careful. Now I'm going to count to 3 and I want you to jump. 1, 2, 3, jump! That was so cool. Oh, let me get out of your way again.
I like you so much.
I love you too.
Come home soon.
I'll be home very soon. Bye-bye. Now in that example, we were demonstrating live 3D capture, but our system is capable of another thing. We can actually record and play back that entire session. Now this is almost like reversing through time. And if I wear my HoloLens device, it's almost like walking into a living memory that I can see through another pair of eyes from all these different perspectives. And because this is 3D content, we can miniaturize it onto this coffee table and experience it in a more convenient manner. And this becomes a magical way of experiencing these live captured memories. Now imagine being able to teleport to any place with anyone at any time. And that's what holoportation is all about. Thank you for watching.